On the holiday of Chanukah, the Jews sing a very interesting song called Maoz Tzur. And it's really a walk through Jewish history and all the tribulations and enemies that have risen up against us, and how God has destroyed each one by one. And it's a strange song because the song does not have an ending. It leaves us off in what we call the Roman exile, and we don't have a clear ending because we're still waiting for the ending. We're still in the story. And what it made me think of is, sometimes you go to a movie and like you're feeling like really tense, like one of the bad guys is doing really well or something's going really wrong for the hero, and you're like feeling tense and you're like there's drama and you're like feeling emotional, but at the back of your mind, you're at the end of the day the good guys are going to win. So but it's still, when you're in the story, you can't help but feel tense and emotion. And I think when you can't help but be in that moment, and it's scary. And I think when what we saw in Australia, how complete unfettered immigration from Muslim majority countries and Arab countries has made Jewish life, as well as everyone's life, much less safe. And the horrific massacre we just saw in Australia is evidence of that. But I think the message that we have to always remember, the message of Hanukkah, is that the Jews win. We are following God. In righteousness. We are not perfect. We don't always do the right thing, but we are the people that chose God, and God chose us, and the Jews win. And so I say that to the new anti-Semites, there's old anti-Semites and there's new anti-Semites, and today we have new anti-Semites: Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, the people who are so jealous of the Jews that they can't help but blame everything on them. I was watching the Tucker Carlson show with Matt Walsh, and they're talking about domestic issues, and he's like, well, aren't you the enemy of the Jews who conducted a war in Gaza? Like, just the most nonsense. Like, the people are like wanting, like the Jews wanted to kill Arabs, just wanted to massacre Arabs. Such lies, spreading such lies about my people, and trying to convince Matt Walsh to do it. And to that I say, we are not going to lose. And so the people that tie their wagon to us are gonna be successful. And we are very, very grateful to the United States for supporting Israel and supporting the Jewish people. We are extremely grateful. But if it wasn't the United States, it would be someone else. I had somebody from a more secular background at my house the other night, for the first night of Hanukkah, and they asked me, like, how do you view, being Jewish around the world? How do you view Israel? So I started giving a religious answer. So they said, yeah, but what about not from a religious perspective? So I said, I'm sorry, but I believe in God. And I believe God is not going to abandon his people, because he said so to Moses and all the prophets. And so do I think we need America? No. I think America has a tremendous, what we call schut, what we call merit to be the ones to support us. But before 1967, it was not America supporting Israel. Jews survived the Holocaust without that. My people will survive. I saw people in Bondi Beach putting on tefillin the next morning. We just get up. We just get up and move on. And it's tremendous. The tremendous courage that I see in my people when they face the most awful tragedy is so inspiring. To see my people that spent years as hostages in Gaza just coming out, getting engaged and getting married. It's like after the war, like the amount of people born in DP camps. You think these people would be broken? These people would be, no, they're just ready to move on. And it's so inspiring. And I thought, like, these were stories that I heard about the Holocaust, and I was like, I could never, those aren't real people. And I see just people my age, people younger than me, just coming out of being a hostage in Gaza and getting married. The Jews win. The Jews win. Tucker Carlson. The Jews win, Nick Fuentes. The Jews win, Candace Owens. And to all my fellow Jews, we win. We win. We win. If we stay with God, if we remain true to our traditions, the Jews win because we chose God and God chose us. Now, on that topic, I just want to say that this woman, Candace Owens, is an awful human being. You see, you look at someone like Tucker Carlson, who is also a bad person. But Tucker Carlson seems to have an agenda. He seems to have convinced himself that the Jews are the problem in the world, and he has an agenda to try and break their power or something. That seems to be Nick Fuentes' agenda. Candace Owens' agenda can only be Candace Owens is, people have been saying, she's either crazy or evil. And I'm afraid to say it just has to be both at this point. To accuse a widow of killing her own husband in some grand conspiracy involving the Egyptian Air Force and the Israeli army, when we know who killed him. It's like with the Trump assassination. So you're like, there's the story doesn't make sense. Some guy on a barn that was like easily defendable, and he had like no social media footprint, and like we never found anything about him, and then they just incinerated his body. The whole thing is just weird. But Charlie Kirk makes sense. Charlie Kirk spoke on campuses every single day about the evils of gender ideology, and somebody with gender ideology shot him. And Candace Owens knows this. She just must be an evil person. She must say, "Look how many views I'm going to get for being evil." And so, people, you're not being edgy. You're not being cool to support her. You're not being, "Oh, I like the edgy thing, and that's cool nowadays." You're not being. It's not smart. You will look back and you will say that I supported a witch who was trying to get views on the on the heartbreak of a grieving widow and the destruction of the empire that that man tried to build, who you call your friend. Candace Owens is just a despicable human being. All right, that'll do today, guys. Have a happy Chanukah.